are you here? Kate McCardle?
Kay McCardle.
Okay, then 6 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Manager, Council. My name is Chris Harris. I'm here today on behalf of Equity Action. I'm a resident of District 9. Firstly, I want to start off by thanking members of Council, particularly Council members Fuentes, Velasquez, Kadri, Vela, and Alter for your work in pushing forward as many community investment budget priorities as you have. And we see how many of these have been added to the budget, particularly since the initial baseline. And we very, very much appreciate that and all of your efforts to save them. As city staff, budget staff, has picked, combed through your amendments and told you which ones you can do. I want to say next that we reject that, and you should too. City budget staff have no constituency. They have an agenda, but we have no idea who they answer to and for what reason. And the amendments they've picked and chosen for you to be your final baseline, we reject. And I know it's the easy path to work from that, to use that as the starting point for today's conversations and for the conversations that may or may not occur over the next 2 days. But if you allow them to pick and choose, then ultimately, while we see their agenda, we see what they pick and choose, and we understand what that translates to. Ultimately, it comes back to you for having allowed them to do it, for having allowed them to create the starting point for you. And ultimately, you're the ones who face election. You're the ones with constituencies, and the people who are coming forward and calling are the people that you have to answer to, not to the budget staff. And we really, really want to reiterate that because they do not represent community. They do not represent any constituency in this community. Next thing I want to say is while we are very appreciative of the community investment budgets that have been made, we see the vast progress. And I particularly want to relay our gratitude as it relates to expansion of the mental health first response system. Thank you, Councilmember Alter, for that work, as well as other Councilmember Alter for all of your efforts over the years in promoting that alternative option. We also see that this is a half a year worth of one-time funds now because of some of the choices that city staff has made and that you all are choosing to use as your starting point for today. This is insufficient. How does an organization hire people in numbers to provide a service 24/7 when you're only giving them funds for a single year? And to be frank, Integral Care has had issue fulfilling the duties that they already have underneath your existing arrangement with them. Asking them to use one-time funds to hire a lot more people, which they'll need to do to provide this service 24/7 so that the city of Austin fulfills its promise to provide a mental health option at 911, which it is currently not doing for a multitude of hours every single day, is going to be very difficult. I lastly want to say, obviously, that we see that all of these initiatives, all of the additional amendments, things that have been cut, things that have been converted from ongoing funds to one-time, could easily be funded out of the increase to the police budget. We're not asking for you to not fund any of the things requested in this increase. We're asking you to find the money in the budget that already exists, a budget that we know is bloated, which we know they are not even spending all of. As of the budget documents they've put out online. We know that you all have committed to payments for things like reaching an agreement in July. That agreement was not reached. Where are those dollars? There are obviously the Civil Asset Forfeiture Fund. There are 371 empty chairs which continue to carry over and over. And so it's extremely disappointing to not see work really being made outside of the 4 airport positions to fund community initiatives. And not just because we don't want to see the police budget funded. Again, we're not opposing any of the particular things that are in this increase. What we're opposing is the idea that this 18.2 or whatever it is minus those 4 airport positions, that money can never be spent on anything else until or unless that building down the street changes very significantly. Ever again. And what we see is not only the loss, the opportunity cost of that, but also this city, this council falling into the trap that state leaders set for you. 3.5% caps on revenue and a police budget that can never come down, and yet you continue to ratchet up. And so you find yourself falling into this trap. And what is the trap for? It's so that this city and the other cities in this state cannot provide the services that your constituents expect, and so that they lose faith in you and the values that you represent, because they see a city not meeting the needs of its people, only answering everything with more and more police. And obviously, we're very concerned about what this means for the much bigger fight that is coming, right, to this chamber here very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you.